And hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. So today we're going to be continuing with the SVG, the finally last part. So this time we're going to be talking about SVG Paths. Now this is a little bit harder than the rest we did, but if you did watch my previous videos, this should come pretty easily to you and you shouldn't struggle too much. So let's get started. Now SVG has 10 types of commands. I'll be explaining them later on, so let's first name them. First we have M, which means move to, L, which means line to, H, which means horizontal line to, V, vertical line to, C, curve to, S, smooth curve to, Q, quadratic Bezier curve, T, smooth quadratic Bezier curve to, A, elliptical arc, and Z, closed path. Now it is normal for you to not be able to remember all of these at once, so first take in all the commands, and then after we have done this tutorial, just go through it, just practice it a little bit, because we're going to go through each and every command. We're just going to go through the most usual commands you would see. If you haven't seen my eye video I made about drawing an anime eye, we use the method to do it. So after the video you can maybe go watch it, and then you can see for yourself what you can do with SVG Paths. Now first off, we'll need to create an SVG element. Now I recommend you go to WeSchools or Solo Learn to go through this yourself and just like learn what all the other words that I'm not going to be covering means. Or you can just try them all out yourself by coding and stuff until you know which each of these letters represents. Now after you have created your SVG, you would want to create your path element. Now to make your path move, you gotta give it an attribute of D, and then equal it, and then all your instructions. Now this is really just like the normal SVG you draw, but it's a slightly different. So now you start with M, which means move to, and you give it a 0, 0, or 1, 100, or just where it should start from, you know. 0, 0 is the best place to start from. I wouldn't suggest anything else really, and I suggest those two are also the same. Then you start with line to, and this will draw a line from wherever you've made it move to the line to. So let's make it 200, 200, then we'll move from 0 to 200. And then we can just give a style, which will just give it a stroke of black and a fill of none, because we don't want it to fill up, we want to see the lines. Now as you can see, we have a line that ranges from 0 all the way to X and Y 200. Now the next part is optional if you have a line, if you're still lining too. You can either use a comma and put your stuff afterwards like I did, or you don't have to use a comma, but then you give it another L, which means line 2 yet again, like that. I don't really like doing that because it takes slightly more time, or it just doesn't look as nice, you know, because later on it can really get to become a big piece of code and you don't really want that. And Z is just to automatically close it off by adding another line. Now isn't that beautiful? Now just for the sake of fun, I'm going to show you guys how to make a quadratic Bezier curve. Now to get this curve, you need to give it 2 types of attributes to the D. Now with a line 2, you just give it 1 because it's 200, 200. But with a quadratic Bezier curve, you need to give it a 2 numbers, comma, and another 2 numbers because it needs to kind of curve, you know. So let me show you an example of how this would look. Now I'm just going to take this L and make that a Q, and then add another 2 numbers after the comma. Now this will just take it back to where it was, or where it started off with, which you can just use a Z for. So let's make those two values a little bit bigger, and then later on, or wait, let's first remove it. Let's show you what happens if you don't. That's all that happens if you don't put an extra value in. So you put in your extra values. Let's make it a little bit bigger so you can see how nice the curve can be if you do it correctly. As you can see, that's actually pretty beautiful, or at least to me. And now you can just add a Z and it will close itself off. And there you go. That's all there is to it, guys. Thank you all for watching. See you all in the next video.